Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Empower Your Soul. I am here today with the incredible Erin Tullar of Rose Quartz Mediumship to talk about somatics today. Thank you so much for being here today, Erin.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I love it. So, to give a little bit of a background, because I'm sure many of you haven't heard of Erin, and if you have, then you know how amazing she is. So, she is the owner again of a Rose Quartz Mediumship and empowered somatic healing. She has a deep passionate love for all things metaphysical and healing based. She has a doctorate in physical therapy, a level 2 somatic certification, a somatic CBT certification, and she has been aware of her mediumship abilities since she was a small child, which I'm sure is an entire podcast episode we could probably go into on its own. And not only are you a medium and a somatic practitioner, you also have completed a shamanic apprenticeship, a druid certification, a Reiki master, death doula, life coach, and spiritual coach.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you haven't done, Erin?
I am somebody who loves learning. I will be a learner for life. It is truly a passion of mine. And I just follow what feels activating for me and allow it to unfold exactly as it's supposed to. And what that means is that I'm constantly learning. And I love it. I love everything about it.
I'm so jealous. Like I want to learn all the things that you have learned. And I agree. And I just see I mean, Erin and I are definitely going to be tapped into spirit this whole time. I just see how much you absorb it like a sponge and you just feed it right through to your clients. So it's almost like it never stays in your system just for you long. You immediately pass it on to help your clients, which is part of your incredible integrity and passion for this work.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And little background too. So I was introduced to Erin from my neighbor who goes to see Erin as a practitioner. So I went up and did a soul retrieval with you on site in your location. And it was the most incredible thing I think I've ever experienced. So I'm here for you and everything that you do, Erin.
Thank you. Thank you. Soul retrievals are absolutely amazing. And you see that expressed in the shamanic world as a soul retrieval. You experience that in the somatic world as a somatic session. And it is essentially the same thing with a slightly different approach, but the same concept. And I think it's such a beautiful thing because right now in our modern culture, we are making huge gains in the scientific world around backing somatics and how we can bring these pieces of us back into alignment with the here and now. And that is something that we've been seeing in indigenous cultures through soul retrievals for forever. And so for me, that space, because I have such a love of the science and the metaphysics, the energy of everything, being able to see those two come together in such a gorgeous and stunning way is for me so beautiful.
Very well said. And I completely agree with you because I'm now almost completed my shamanic apprenticeship as well. And I totally agree with you that it is diving into a lot of the same root causes. And it's just whatever modality makes the most sense for you and your energy, whatever aligns best for you is the modality for you. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So today I want to talk about somatics though, because I just took your 30-day self-healing course, which is coming up. We'll definitely plug it and add it to the show notes, the link for this thing. But it has been such an eye-opening and awakened class for me in ways that I never thought possible. So why don't you start with, if you don't mind, telling everybody what somatics is and how it can kind of change lives?
Yeah. I could talk about this for days. I love somatics. So somatics means in relation to the body versus in relation to the mind. And it's really rooted in the fact that everything that we experience is held in the body. And so when we have trauma as a child, and trauma is not an experience, but how we engage with the experience that we had, right? So an experience could be the traumatic experience. The trauma happens in the way that we internally process and deal with the event that occurred, the traumatic event that occurred. And when we hold trauma in our nervous system and in our body, it doesn't go anywhere, right? It's here, even if we don't have conscious awareness of it, right? So for people who've suppressed memories from childhood or even past lives. And so somatics means in relation to the body. And there are so many different forms of somatics. And as a doctorate in physical therapy, I've always had a deep love for the body and the healing that happens in the body. And I had tried multiple different forms of somatic healing. And it wasn't until I found the pathway, Mastery is where I did my first level 1 and level 2 somatic certification trainings. And right now I'm in Somatic Experiencing International, which is a 3-year program. It's the world leading program in somatics. And I also did a somatic CBT certification, a 60-hour certification with Embody Lab. So all of that just means that we hold trauma in our body and in our nervous system. So a part of us gets stuck in another time and place, right? So looping back into that kind of soul retrieval energy, right? So there's a shamanic path, there's a somatic path that all lead to the same place. 2 different approaches for the same exact thing. But essentially a piece of us gets stuck in another time and space. And when those pieces of us are stuck in another time and space, when we are moving through the human experience, we're not reacting from the here and now, we're reacting from the part of us that is stuck in another time and space, right? Which is what we see with triggers, right? So if I'm moving through my day and something happens and I get triggered, it's not the here and now that I'm reacting to. I might think that that's what I'm reacting to, but the reality is that the piece of me that's stuck in another time and space that experienced something that was too overwhelming for me to fully process it in the moment that I experienced it, either because I wasn't resourced enough or I wasn't old enough and didn't have the awareness to be able to fully process everything that I was experiencing, some piece of me gets stuck in another time and space. And so the form of somatics that I'm trained in, the lineage that I'm trained in, works really deeply with the nervous system to bring those pieces of us back into presence and gives us more access to presence, gives us more access to nervous system regulation so that we can react to the here and now and not react to the part of us that's stuck in the past. And our subconscious drives somewhere between 85 and 95% of our reality. And I'm going to say that again because it's huge.
Yeah.
Our reality is driven 85 to 90% from our subconscious. So if we have conscious awareness of what we desire, right? And we think that that's driving our reality, that's only driving 15 to 5% of our reality. The rest of it is being driven through our subconscious or unconscious. And so one of the things that I love the most about somatics is that it allows us to access what's held in our subconscious or unconscious over here, bring it into conscious awareness. I always kind of say excavate it and set it on the table in front of us so that we can consciously and actively work with it and heal those parts of us. And what that does is open up our reality for us to be able to experience everything in life more fully. Our gifts, for example, right? So our metaphysical gifts are oftentimes blocked or held in, we've got resistance to them from experiences that we had in childhood or trauma that we've had in childhood. And that might look like self-limiting beliefs like, oh, someone else has mediumship capabilities, but I could never do that. That self-limiting belief might have been driven through an experience in childhood, and that is blocking us from accessing our gifts, right? Similarly, we may have had an overwhelming experience with spirit as a small child, or maybe we were told that we were wrong or bad for engaging with spirit.
Yep.
And so we are holding these subconscious blocks to being able to access spirit, right? Because some part of us is saying it's not safe for me to access these gifts because I was told that, or maybe it was family of origin, maybe it was religion or spirituality, maybe it was culture at large, whatever it is. We are holding these stories in our nervous system that say it's not safe. I'm going to be rejected. I am not going to be loved if I allow this expression of me to lead. And so we block not just our own metaphysical gifts and everything, but we block joy, we block presence, we block happiness based off of trauma that we're holding in our nervous system. And so when we learn to work with the nervous system versus against the nervous system, it brings these parts of us back into presence. And it gives us the ability to experience life in its fullest. And it is really life-changing, really life-changing.
That's so amazing. And I feel like I wish I had this so much earlier on my spiritual journey because it is so life changing. So, within the 30-day class that I've taken with you, and I want to talk about what this typically looks like in terms of clients and what, because what you just said is so mind blowing and it feels so complex, so complicated. Like, how do you access the subconscious, right? Like, because a lot of our traditional metaphysical tools, we might get, flashes through Reiki, or we might get a little bit through mediumship about, maybe the things that you couldn't see as a child, but this exposes the root cause of trauma and the root cause of limitations, limiting beliefs that you're currently holding on to in such an easy, fast, and safe way. And I think this is why um, this tool, this certification it's so profound to me because it goes literally right after the root cause, and you can be healed with some of these things in a matter of minutes.
Yes. Yeah. It is amazing. And it sounds so complicated, right? Like,
Yes.
how am I going to access my subconscious? That feels like this enormous task, right? And it's actually not. All we need to do is learn how to access all of these channels that already exist inside of us. And when we do that, it gives us direct access to our unconscious, right? So the 5 channels that we work with are mind, which is on the divine masculine side of the scale. None of us have a hard time getting into our mind, right? In fact,
Nope.
the majority of us spend the majority of our life in mind, right?
Mhm.
And we're really not meant to. And I'm going to pause right here and just say, the shamanic side of me has been trained in working with the wheel of the human, right? So if we look at mind, heart, body, and spirit, that's the wheel of the human, right? Mind and heart are on opposite sides of the wheel of the human, and body and spirit are on opposite sides of the wheel of the human, which means that the deeper we go, they're counterbalances for each other, right? So when the deeper we go into our body, the deeper we go into spirit because
Mhm.
they're counterbalances for each other. Just like the deeper we go into heart, the more we can understand in mind. And for so many of us, we're meant to spend about 25% of our time in mind, 25% of our time in heart, 25% of our time in body, and 25% of our time in spirit. But so many of us spend 95% of our time in our mind. We just walk around in mind, right? We are living the human experience through mind. And when you look at the wheel of the human, mind is male-male energy, right? Heart is female-female energy. Body is male going into female, and spirit is female going into male, right? So that's the wheel of the human. And if you think about spending too much time in mind, it would be like toxic masculinity, right? If I'm supposed to be spending 25% of my mind, 25% of my time in my mind, and I'm spending 75, 85, 95% of my time in mind, then I'm going to end up in a toxic masculinity situation. And so if you just think about somebody in your reality who embodies toxic masculinity, they try to control through fear. What does
Mhm.
our mind do when we spend too much time in it, right? Our mind will be a jerk. It will try and control us through fear. It's like, don't leave your job because all these bad things could happen, right? Control
Yeah.
through fear. Don't move across the country. Don't buy the piece of property and homestead. Don't follow your dreams because all these bad things are going to happen. So when we spend too much time in mind, it results in us being in a toxic masculinity situation where our mind tries to control us through fear.
Mhm.
And so when we really balance ourselves by spending time in all 4 quadrants of us, we no longer see that toxic masculinity expression. So our mind no longer tries to control us through fear. And that's one of the really beautiful things about spending more time in body, spending more time in heart, spending more time in spirit. So the 5 channels that we work with in somatics: mind, none of us have a problem getting there.
Mhm.
Imagination and visualization, right? So if I ask you to picture a peach or a lemon, for example, or visualize a peach or a lemon, um, you might notice if you kind of deepen into that, right? So for those of you who are driving, don't close your eyes. But if you are watching this and you are not driving or not doing something that would be unsafe to close your eyes, just kind of close your eyes and think about a peach, for example. And just notice, like, can you feel the kind of fuzziness on the edge of the outside of the peach? Can you imagine that? Can you visualize that? Can you experience that in the visualization channel? And then if you were to bite it, can you feel the juices? Can you taste the sweetness? And just even noticing right now, how many of you guys are salivating, right?
Mhm.
Some of you guys might be salivating. So the imagination channel, the visualization channel is incredibly powerful. We use it in, with our third eye a lot, for those of us who are developing our third eye. And this is where memories from childhood are, right? Imagination and visualization for so many of us. So these are on the divine masculine side of the scale, and we have more conscious control over them, right? So I could ask you to think about a peach or a lemon or whatever, a childhood memory. You have conscious control here. Body posture, which is what is our physical body doing, right? So right now, if I'm like looking away, this may actually be a flight response. I want to get away from something, right? My body is turning away from the screen. That would be
Mhm.
body posture. Or if I walk into a room and I meet somebody and I do this, right? I might not have conscious awareness that I'm crossing my arms and that when my body is actually trying to express this, I don't feel safe. This person doesn't feel safe to me. I'm noticing I'm crossing my arms. I might be clenching my legs together, right? So my body is being self-protective. So the body posture we have conscious control over, right? So we might notice that we're smiling. We might notice that we're laughing. We might notice that our voice is going up. We have some conscious control. And then there's things that our body does that we have no idea that it's happening, right? So I might start scratching my hair, playing with my hair. Might be a fight response, right? I might bite my lip. That's a
Yeah.
fight response. I might not have conscious awareness that this is a fight response coming out of me. So body posture, and then inner sensations, which is what's happening inside the body, right? So if, say, I get upset and I'm starting to feel some tightness in my chest or some heaviness in my chest, or there's some contraction happening, that's all inner sensation channel. These are on the more divine feminine, more receptive side of the scale. We have less conscious control over inner sensations and emotions, right? So I can't say to you, be happy. You have no conscious control. You might be able to think of a happy thing, a happy thought, right? From our visualization, imagination, mind channels. And then I might be able to start smiling, right? Body posture. And now this is going to elicit some lightness, like there's might be some opening. And now I'm accessing happiness. But in order to access happiness, I had to use other channels because I don't have conscious control over inner sensations and emotions. And then that is linked over here to our unconscious or subconscious. So when we can get into the inner sensation channel and the emotional channel, and we can feel what's happening in the body, and we can feel the emotions, because so many of us actually think our emotions, we don't feel them. We think we're feeling them, but we're actually thinking them. But when we get into these channels, it gives us access to our unconscious or our subconscious. And that's that thing why we're talking about we can excavate it and set it on the table in front of us so that we can start working with it. Something that might have felt like such a small experience in childhood. Maybe we have conscious memory of an experience from childhood, but we don't realize how much it's impacting us. We don't realize how that experience might be limiting us with authenticity and uniqueness, for example. And so it seems really complicated to get our unconscious or subconscious memories into conscious awareness, but it's actually not. All we need to do is understand how the nervous system works so that we can work with it versus against it. And
It's incredible.
yeah.
I know. I loved that, all of that explanation, Erin, because I think for me, I'm continuously in my divine, like 90% in my head guaranteed, probably like 98% in my head, especially given background in IT, data analytics, right? Corporate background. So the fact of how, and I have to tell you personally, my entire life, people have been telling me I'm way too much in my divine masculine. I need to balance that with the divine feminine. And for somebody to come at me and say that, and I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to access the divine feminine. So this really easy, I'm going to say on the surface modality, by moving through these channels, allowed me to really be able to tap in to the divine feminine so much easier. And it's almost like this really simple 5-step process, play by play. And once you learn this tool in your 30-day class, which I can't recommend enough, you can use it on the spot every moment. You can, whenever you're feeling anxious, whenever you're feeling like, what is this? Why am I responding like this? And being able to move through these 5 channels and really uncover the root of what is going on and actually resolve it for good. It's life-changing.
It's life-changing.
Yeah.
It,
I
it blows
can't say it
my
enough.
mind.
I
It
can't
blows
say it
my
enough. Yeah.
And it's so simple. And I've said so many times, I wish that our culture taught this in school, right? It's like we all are, we're all mammals, right? Us humans are mammals. We are no different than a bear or a deer or a dog. And our nervous system functions just like theirs do. And when we learn how to work with our nervous system rather than against it, life becomes so much more peaceful and easy and flowy. And it is amazing how much stuff is held in our subconscious and unconscious that is trauma-based, that's protective, right? And sometimes I will watch people kind of hate on what is the trauma that's held in their nervous system. And we actually want to do the opposite, right? Because so if we use your example of being too much in the divine masculine,
Yep.
you may have been praised as a child for doing well in school, or you
Mhm.
may have been praised for having structure, stability, protection, like doing the thing, being in the hierarchy, right? And so subconsciously, we begin to build this story that I'm good when I'm in mind. I am accepted. I am loved when I'm doing well in school, when I am performing, when I am producing.
Mhm.
And we may subconsciously be telling the story that I am bad or wrong when I'm in my divine feminine, when I'm feeling, when I'm being, when I'm not producing, right? So subconsciously, we're holding this story that if I'm in my divine feminine, I'm bad. I'm wrong. I won't be accepted. I'll be rejected. I won't be loved. And so if I just walk up to you and say, get into your divine feminine,
Right.
dance in the kitchen, right? Paint. And you're like, I don't know how to do that, right?
Right.
Whoop, my screen, my,
I love the face that got frozen.
you know what? It's so funny. I watch people freeze in these really, really beautiful ways. Whenever my screen freezes, I'm like, that's how I freeze.
That's listening. She just had this face on that got frozen on the camera that was like, like your the look of seeing that bear that she was talking about earlier. Yes. No, I love what you're saying though, Erin, because it's literally the thought pattern of what has happened to me, right? And it's so interesting because I was literally praised from the structures of corporate America to be in the divine masculine. I was somebody who told you, do not trust your gut, it's wrong.
Yes,
Right. And if I wasn't producing, I was not going to get my bonus. I was not going to get my raise. And
exactly.
so we like, not only are we, I'm going to say like conditioned as children to be in this masculine headspace, but also most of our structures everywhere in society are masculine based and mind based. So I just love that you are giving such an easy tool for people to recognize these patterns and undo them and really bring a lot more balance into their energy, into their life. And with that balance comes confidence, comes love, it comes bringing in that divine feminine energy that everybody needs right now. Everyone needs it.
We need it so badly culturally right now. And there's such resistance to it, right? There's such resistance. Like you're talking about, we are praised for being in the divine masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Not only verbally praised, but we are financially praised,
Mm-hmm.
right? Culturally, we are praised. And so we really, so many of us have deep wounds around accessing divine feminine. being able to surrender, being able to trust, being able to listen to us. And so many of us have been given the choice as a small child between love and acceptance, right? Whether it be from our family of origin, whether it be school, sports, church, spirituality, whatever it is, we could either be loved or we could be authentic. We could be ourselves. And so as a small child, we don't have a choice. We might think that we have a choice, right? But we actually don't. We are always going to pick love, and we will always self-abandon when given the choice as a small child, because we physiologically require the adults in our reality to live, right? So if we get taught from the time that we're really small that the authentic or unique way that you move through the world is somehow wrong or bad, then and in order to be accepted and loved, we need to be this, right? This societal norm, this whatever it is. Then we choose the love, we choose the attachment, and we self-abandon. And what that looks like as we move through the human experience is we get to a spot in life where we don't know who we are. We don't know the authentic us, but we know we're unhappy. We know that something feels unfulfilled or unsettled in our lives. And being able to come back in contact with who you are and heal the trauma that is connected to being told that the unique expression of you is wrong or bad. It's not, right? And as adults, unfortunately, so many of us continue to self-abandon because we were taught that as a small child. And so being able to reclaim that and say, first of all, who am I? Because so many of us don't know, because it's been buried so long ago. We started self-abandoning so long ago. We started learning to not listen to our gut, to the messages that are coming through, to the authentic desire to sing or dance or paint or live on a yacht, or like, I don't want to get married and have the house with the white picket fence and the children. I want to run wild and, travel the world, but that's
Mhm.
wrong or bad. And so we learn to self-abandon the authenticity inside of us. And when we heal those wounds, and somatics is, in my opinion, the most potent and most powerful modality at healing those wounds, it allows us to feel fulfilled and it brings
Mhm.
us into presence. And one of the really interesting things about the human experience is that when we get disconnected from our inner sensations and from our emotions, and we get disconnected from ourselves, right? By definition, that then disconnects us from the outside world.
Mhm.
So as we come into deeper contact with who we are, with our authenticity, with our uniqueness, it also brings us into deeper contact with the external, right? So all of a sudden, we enjoy nature more deeply. We enjoy
Mhm.
our friends, we enjoy our family, we enjoy activities, and we're able to connect with them more deeply because we are connecting with ourselves more deeply. So it's really, really life-changing.
I love it. I love it so much. And Spirit's been telling me this entire time that I need to move more into my body. And I just this whole conversation is like full circle, because without going into my body, I can't deepen my connection with spirit. I can't deepen the connection with the clients. And I love that you, your class showed up at the perfect time for me, in order to be like, for me to continue to deepen and undo all of this subconscious trauma and a subconscious patterning and behaviors that I have within me. So I have two questions that keep popping up in my head. So how do you know, I think everyone can do this, but when would you recommend someone would go to a somatic professional for that, I'm going to say, more guided experience versus maybe taking this class that you have coming up?
Yeah. So it's not a, it's a both and, in my opinion.
Okay,
So
perfect.
I think everybody should understand how their nervous system works and how to
Mhm.
work with it versus against it. Because when you learn that, life is going to get so much easier. You're going to be so much happier. So I think everybody would benefit from the 30-day self-healing with somatics program.
Mhm.
And then there will be things that are overwhelming enough for your nervous system that you want someone else to hold a ground while you look at them. You want somebody else to co-regulate, right? Because it's going to be dysregulating enough for you to be able to look at this thing that you might not be able to experience it, right?
Mm,
So you might avoid going into one of the channels that would allow you to actually fully get into the experience. And having somebody else hold a ground and co-regulate with you is going to give you the ability to go there. So sometimes people will say to me, you know, I took your 30-day course. I have all these amazing, great experiences. I'm watching enormous change in my reality, but I can't get to this thing, this,
mm,
this thing that I know is there. And my response is always because it's so overwhelming for your nervous system that you can't, right? You're not resourced enough to be able to look at this thing right now. So you can
mhm,
either keep doing somatics on yourself, on other things, and eventually you will have the resource and the capacity inside of your nervous system to look at this. Or you could do a session with someone else who's going to
mhm,
co-regulate, who's going to hold a safe, non-judgmental space and a ground for you so that you can look at this thing, so that you can feel this thing. And it's
mhm,
in the feeling that we purge the trauma, right? So we never go into a somatic session saying, I want to purge this. We go into it saying, I want to feel it. And
mhm.
when we feel it, when we are fully present with it, a natural byproduct is the purge or the release. And so really understanding that these are not things that we want to push away. It's not, you know, sometimes I will watch people try and like really shake something out of their body. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're actually going to feel it. And if you have this desire to shake, okay. But you're going to do it really slowly and you're going to feel every part of it, right? So like I have them close their eyes and feel this, and they deepen into the sensations that are happening inside of their body. A byproduct is the purge.
Mm.
We don't need to go looking for the purge. We just have to feel. And when we are resourced enough to feel something fully, it will release. It will.
That's incredible. I love it. So you heard it here first. So sign up for Erin's 30-day class, which I have taken and I can't say enough about. It is, just to give a little background and fill me in if I miss anything, Erin. it- it's essentially a self-paced course where you meet with Erin once a week for any Q&A, but a lot of the recordings are kind of do it at your own time, do it at your own pace. And I love those as a mom who's got a million things going on. Those are my jam. Like I think I knocked out 3 weeks worth of courses in like a night and a half, just because that's how I had to do it, because my schedule is so crazy. But then you have Erin once a week to check in with, ask questions, see how it's going. But it is truly, I can't believe how easy you taught this. Like I can't, I guess overall, I just can't believe how complex, it's not complex, but how impactful this tool is and how you've packaged this up so simply, so neatly, so easily. I feel like I know you come from corporate as well. So it's like you have that amazing ability to simplify and make this tangible and make this real and practical for people, but also not minimizing or toning down the impact that this amazing training is. So Erin has graciously offered listeners and friends of me, 70% off the June price. So if you are interested in this class, run, do not walk, run, do not walk to this class. I don't know if there's anything else you'd want to add about the class. I know I loved it. I know the people who I saw in the classes, on the weekly classes, loved it. I don't know if you have anything else to say or add about that.
Yeah, just that there's a 30-day practice built into it, because for so many of us, we have been so disconnected from the inner sensation and emotion channels for so long that we actually need to create the neural pathways back into feeling inside of our body. So there's a daily practice that's built into it with the intention that it helps people learn to feel inside of their body, because a lot of people are so disconnected or have experienced so much trauma that there is a numbness to feeling inside of their body, or like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're talking about, right? When I first started running my somatic certification training, I really noticed that a lot of people would say, I can't feel inside my body. And so having a 30-day practice, and the practices are 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 12 minutes, so they're not enormous amounts of time. The daily practice really helps you to create the neural pathways inside of our brain, and to build a practice around feeling, because as you were talking about earlier, Nicole, it is something that you can do on the fly in any second, all day long, and not only are you healing trauma from the past, but you're preventing trauma in the future because
Yeah.
you have the ability to feel everything inside of your body and to not allow it to then turn into trauma that we then have to heal moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And it's such a practical and sustainable tool.
Yes.
I can't get over it. I love it so much. So go sign up for that class. It's amazing. Erin, what else are you working on? I think you have a healing expo coming up. Is that true?
Yeah, so we have a virtual healing expo on June 6th, 7th, and 8th. So it's all online. And we have 17 speakers. So it's 17 hours worth of content. Uh,
Wow.
and the speakers will all be presenting live, and they're in various different fields of expertise. So, for example, we have a woman who's speaking, Dr. Megan Rose is speaking about spirit marriage. And yeah, and she's fabulous. I went to listen to her speak a couple of years ago and just adored. I got so much out of that experience. We've got someone presenting on Akashic Records. We have someone presenting on human design. We've got someone presenting on sound healing. We've got someone presenting on accessing joy. Um, on essential oils. I'm presenting on addiction and healing the trauma that results in addiction. I do actually have a course that starts in June also on healing the trauma behind addiction. It's a somatic based course. I think it's life-changing. It is actually on early bird special right now. And you can purchase a summer bundle, is what we're calling it, where you get access to the virtual healing expo with a replay of every single presenter, and then the trauma and healing addiction.
Mhm.
And then Discovering Infinite Possibilities, which runs in July, which is how to become a vibrational and frequency match for the life that you want and how to deepen into possibility. And again, a very somatic approach, right? So everything that I do involves somatics and energy work. So those are the three things that we have going on. You can purchase a summer bundle and get a discount off of all of that. And then, as we spoke about, we have the next round of the 30-day healing with somatics that your listeners are going to get 70% off on.
Mhm.
And I would recommend that for absolutely everybody. Like if you lived through childhood, you have trauma.
Yes.
And and if you're a human, you have a nervous system. And I think everybody would benefit from taking the Self-Healing with Somatics 30-day program.
That's amazing. Don't snooze on it because she's only offering the 70% for June. I don't know why I have to say that, but I have to say that to all of you. And I think this is just a testament to who you are, Erin, because I love the way that you have naturally evolved over time and just you're so good at following your intuition, your team, your flow, whatever you want to call this, and just naturally coming from a space of corporate and mediumship, right? And moving into this somatic work and moving into like healing and addiction and alignment and vibration. And I just love how you continue to really innovate in the space and really just let yourself be guided by what does everyone need right now? What is the most impactful thing that I can do to help humanity, help my clients, help my peers? And I just love that you are just this vast source of knowledge and love for everybody that's around you. So thank you for being you, Erin.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That's so meaningful.
My goodness. For everyone listening, I will toss all of the information in the show notes. Go follow her. She's on all the socials as well as Rose Quartz Mediumship. Again, I'll tag that as well. But Erin, thank you so much for being here and sharing your wealth of knowledge with all the listeners today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right. Hope you have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care.